Buying a home is one of the biggest financial decisions you will ever make in your life, but in 2025, the game has completely changed. And if you're not prepared, these new rules could cost you thousands of dollars or even your dream home. Let's talk about it. Let's dive into the most important shift. Buyers are now responsible for compensating their own agents. For decades, it was somewhat of a standard of practice for the sellers to pay both their own agent and the buyer's agent. But now sellers have the option to offer little or even zero compensation to the agent representing the buyer. So this change fundamentally alters how buyers need to plan their finances. For you, for a potential buyer, this means you'll likely need to budget for your agent's fees on top of your own down payment, your own closing costs, and other expenses. And if that sounds overwhelming, don't worry. It's entirely possible to plan for these changes with the right guidance. The key is understanding that a great agent is worth every single penny in this market. Their expertise can save you money, protect you from making costly mistakes, and guide you to the best possible deal on your dream home. And you might wonder, why was this change even made? Transparency is a big factor. Previously, some agents would prioritize showing homes with higher commissions, steering buyers away from other options, and that is not right. Now, with sellers no longer obligated to offer compensation, the playing field is leveled, but it also puts more responsibility on buyers to navigate these costs. And here's where things get tricky. Not all agents are prepared to handle these dynamics. Some of them, actually a lot of them, may lack the experience or negotiation skills to structure deals that account for their fees. That's why working with a seasoned full-time agent is more important than it has been. They will know how to negotiate effectively, find creative solutions, and ensure you're not left footing a bill that you weren't expecting. And I know you may have heard this before, and I hate saying it, but now more than ever, choosing the right agent is crucial to your success as a buyer. Your agent isn't just someone who's going to schedule showings. You can hire someone to do that, right? You can go online and do that yourself. They are your advocate, a negotiator, and a guide through a rapidly changing market. And here is the hard truth. The vast majority, I just mentioned this, the vast majority of agents are not equipped for today's market, and that could cost you significantly. When you sign a buyer agency agreement, you're entering into a partnership with your agent. This agreement outlines their responsibility, their fees, and the service that they're going to provide you. A great agent will take the time to explain every single detail, answer every single question, and ensure that you're comfortable with the arrangement. And you really need to understand this. It's not just about signing a document. It's about building trust and setting expectations up front. And unfortunately, many agents work part-time or they just lack experience and they can't navigate today's complexities. There's nothing against part-time agents, but they might not have the market knowledge, the negotiation skills, or the availability to truly advocate for you. And on the other hand, a full-time experienced agent is immersed in the market and has the expertise to protect your interests and save you money in the long run. So take your time interviewing agents before fully committing to one. Ask about their track record, negotiation strategies, and how they plan to help you navigate these new commission structures. A great agent like myself isn't just someone who shows homes. They are someone who ensures you're making the best financial decision and personal decisions. But at the end of the day, it is a partnership and it can make all of the difference in your home buying journey. Here's a new one for you. Open houses are still a great way to explore potential homes, but the process has changed. So in 2025 and moving forward, the agent hosting the open house represents the seller, not you. This means that their primary goal is to secure the best deal for the seller, not to help you. If you're not working with your own agent, you're essentially navigating the process all by yourself. And here's why that matters. Without your own representation, you might miss out on crucial insights about the property or its pricing. And here's the deal. The seller's agent isn't obligated to point out potential issues to you or advocate your interests at all. That's why it's so important to have your own agent who can attend the open house with you, or at least advise you on what to look for. If you've already hired an agent, make sure to disclose this to the open house agent when you're looking at the house. This keeps the process transparent and ensures your agent can step in when it's time to negotiate, if that time arises. It also prevents any misunderstandings about who is representing you. And this is it. Transparency is key in every step of the buying process. So some buyers, they're tempted to work directly with the open house agent to simplify things, right? They think it's gonna make them save so much money and it's gonna be so much easier for them, but that creates dual agency. And I'm going to talk all about dual agency a little bit later, so make sure that you stick around. Now, buyers are responsible for paying their agents. That means that negotiation is more important than ever. So that means that a great skilled agent can help structure your offer in a way that incorporates their fees, reducing your out-of-pocket costs. So for example, you might ask the seller to cover part of the fee as a closing credit or adjust your offer price to include the expense. And this requires finesse and expertise, and not every agent knows how to navigate these conversations effectively, which is why choosing the right agent is so critical, and that's why I keep saying it. Your agent needs to understand not only how to structure offers, but also how to communicate the value they bring to the transaction. A strong agent-client relationship makes these negotiations smoother and more successful. And at the same time, you as the buyer need to be prepared, understand the cost up front, and have an open conversation with your agent about how their fee will be handled. This transparency ensures that there are no surprises later in the process, because knowledge is power, and the more informed you are, the better position you'll be to make smart decisions. Negotiating agent fees might feel awkward at first because no one likes talking about money, I understand, but remember, this is your money and you deserve to feel confident in how it's being spent. A great agent won't just accept this, they'll embrace it because they know that their services are worth it. Now, this next part is potentially the absolute most important, so listen up. Let's talk about what may be the most important point of all, your financial preparedness. In 2025, with buyers potentially responsible for paying their agents and the overall cost of home ownership continuing to rise, being financially sound is critical. This isn't just about having enough for the down payment. It's about making sure that your entire financial picture is ready for the long-term commitment of owning a home. Most agents will never tell you about this. Failing to prepare could leave you vulnerable to unexpected expenses, especially with these new rules in play. First, you'll need to take a deep dive into your finances before starting your home search. Review your savings, your debt, and your credit score. A strong credit score can help you secure a better mortgage rate, saving you thousands over the life of your loan. You'll also want to build a cushion for unexpected costs like repairs, moving expenses, or the all-important agent fee. And remember, buying a home isn't just about meeting the asking price. It's about being ready for everything that comes after. Second, focus on creating a realistic budget. With agents' fees now potentially coming out of pocket, it's important to factor this into the overall home buying plan. Sit down with a lender or a financial advisor or both to understand exactly what you can afford, factoring in all of the costs, not just your mortgage. A good rule of thumb is to keep your monthly housing costs, including taxes, insurance, and other fees, below or close to 30% of your total monthly income. Being honest about your budget upfront is going to save you financial stress later on. Next, consider the importance of the pre-approval in today's competitive market. A pre-approval, it's not a nice to have. Don't even look at a pre-qual anymore. Just look at a pre-approval. It's essential. Sellers are more likely to accept offers from buyers who are financially vetted, especially now that buyers are expected to take on more financial responsibility. Your pre-approval amount will also help you set clear boundaries on what you can afford, preventing you from falling in love with homes that are outside your price range. And just because your pre-approval says you can afford a $700,000 home, it might make more sense to buy a $600,000 home that's less monthly cost out of your pocket. Preparation is power. Write this down. Preparation is power, and the pre-approval is your first step. And finally, understand that the market is still competitive, and financial readiness gives you a huge advantage. A strong offer backed by solid finances can set you apart from other buyers, especially if you're asking the seller to contribute toward agent fees. Buying a home in 2025 requires more than just dreaming. It requires planning. And now I don't want to forget this because I told you I was going to touch on it, and it is dual agency. This happens when the same agent represents both the buyer and the seller in a transaction. And now I know you may be thinking to yourself, that seems very convenient, right? Dual agency can create serious conflicts of interest that put you at a disadvantage. So the agent, essentially, that was once representing the seller is now representing you, which means that they have to give both parties the same amount of advocacy. And that's very hard to do in a real estate transaction. Without your own agent, you're navigating a high-stakes transaction without a trusted advocate. Dual agency also limits the advice and guidance that you'll receive because a dual agent can't provide the same level of personalized service because they have to remain completely neutral. This means they can't do things that will negatively affect the seller or negatively affect you, and you won't get that full representation. So I know that it is legal in some states and it might sound good, but I highly suggest that you don't get involved in dual agency. If you're preparing to buy a home in 2025, let's make sure that you're ready for the exchanges. Make sure you reach out to me if you're buying in the Philly suburbs because I can help you and guide you along the way. And make sure you stay tuned for my next videos all about Philly suburbs and buying homes.